Hello everyone, good morning and thank you for coming. Sorry about a bit of a delay, but it's always planned, so no worries, everything will be on track from now. First off, I want to introduce myself and the event that we're at. My name is Mössler and I'm the project manager for Data Science Conference DACH. DACH is also a part our event today that is a part of a larger franchise called the Data Science Conference franchise. We are coming from a humble conference that started around eight years ago in Belgrade, Serbia. And through the years, we have gathered a large ecosystem and community of people from all walks of the data science profession, from data enthusiasts, students, to professionals, to academy representatives, community representatives, and of course, the business world and business partners and companies. Our aim for this conference that started 8 years ago was to unite all of these different factions of the industry and get them talking and get them solving our most important problems. And hence, one of the crucial parts is here in Vienna, Austria, in the DACH region. Hence, our conference is called Save the World Through Data. Usually our motto is change, but right now we're really focused on sustainability and AI for good. I don't want to take up too much of your time. I also want to introduce my co-organizing partners, but I want to thank you for showing up and thank you for wanting to make a change in the world and trying to collaborate and save the world through data. So, first off, I would like to introduce Wolf, our co-organizing partner from VBSG. So if we can have a little round of applause for him.
Well, everything said, I mean, save the world through data, how can I top that? I mean, that's like, whatever. So I'm just starting with the humble beginnings. VBSG, we're in a data science group. I also welcome you. We are the co-organizers here. I happen to be the president of it. We started nearly 10 years ago, and when I say humble beginnings, it was like around the corner with 5 people or something like that. Now I see a lot of familiar faces, that's good, but also new ones. So who are we and what are we trying to do? We are an NGO caring for the impact of data science and AI before there was even data science. So for the first years, we just explained what data science is. I changed a bit, I think, maybe. And at the moment, yeah, our goal is that this conference is some sort of lighthouse in Vienna and across the region for that. And I think, yeah, that's a good step in the right direction. So maybe just a few words about VBSG. What are we trying to do and how are we doing it? We try to build the most inclusive, vibrant and just coolest community about data science and AI here and let's say across Europe, but yeah, about domination was important. And how are we doing that? We are writing books, so please give us a review. You can find everything on our homepage, but what is really important, coming together, building this community. So if you heard about Meetup, go there, check us out, and yeah, just come by. And I don't want to steal your time now, and I see the next one.
Thank you, Wolf. Wolf and VBSG, as the chairman of VBSG, they're actually one of our youngest partners, since this is actually the 3rd event that we're organizing, but only the 1st event that we're organizing in Austria live. Right now, I would like to introduce one of our more senior partners in this, Alen Kalam from Sustainance. Senior company.
Okay, so I feel like being 80 years old now, senior partner, but welcome as well from my side. My name is Alan. I have been part of it since the beginning in Austria and as well beyond that earlier stage in where it's actually coming from as well. So today I'm representing more or less 2 entities. The first one is the Sustainista, which is kind of a startup. It is a startup focused on sustainable technologies, sustainable data products, and so on. And you see our footprint as with Save the World, with data and more or less an AI, and the sustainability idea is coming actually a couple of years ago. I think we had when no one was thinking. We said let's make a footprint here. Let's try to do something that is exceptional at that time, 3-4 plus years ago. And otherwise, the second domain is Unica, which is fortunately on one of the sponsors as well. So what Unica does knows everybody, I think. But today I'm here not to describe what I'm doing for a living, but I just want to humbly welcome you, have fun, mingle, network, interconnect. I see as well a lot of so I see a couple of academia partners as well. They're here, luckily. So you are as well the glue that keeps somehow this whole thing and the whole community together. The universities, the innovation schools I had to talk with, so I coordinated it this time. So happy that you're here, that you made it. Enjoy, and let's see what comes out at the end of the day. Yeah, hopefully you will have lots of interesting insights throughout the day. Yeah, thank you. From my side.
Thank you, Alan, for the wonderful introduction from your side. As I mentioned in my previously 2 sentences ago, this is actually our third event, but the first one live. Hopefully, the program that you see today is going to be amazing, as we feel that we have collected a very strong speaking professionals to come and speak at this event. And with that, I would like to introduce our third co-organizing entity that helped us make this all true happen, because locally these events and the franchise cannot survive with our local partners, as you have seen 2 of them right now. But the third partner is Mario Anao from Quantargo, and he will be also your host for this track.
Hi, good morning. A very warm welcome from my side. Welcome to our data dungeon today. I know Rathauskeller might not be the most usual place to have a data science conference, but more, I hope that you enjoy the day today, that you find people to talk to, and that you see what you can actually do with data for good. So I actually came together with Data Science Conference 5 years ago, when I basically started the company. I was at the Data Science Conference 4.0, so I even still got the t-shirt. It's a bit washed out, but it still looks okay. And I have to say, I was completely hooked. So I saw Hedwig Wickham, which is, in the art community, somebody, and maybe controversial, but I was really hooked by the spirit and the people and how Alex and his team put it all together. So, of course, I thought, okay, changing the world through data is something which is, a topic which is taking off. And of course, data is already changing a lot of things. Data is changing our minds, it's in social media, it's in many, many products. So it's actually everywhere. But the main problem is with data is that, of course, if you've seen all those large language models fed with trillions of tokens and doing great stuff, there's a bigger and bigger, I think, awareness, or let's even say danger, that something bad can happen. And sustainability and having some kind of future for our planet, for ourselves, together with these kinds of technologies, is something which is very important and more pressing in our society. So I'm very happy that you're here. Please take the time, come together. It's here industry professionals, it's academics, it's people or aspiring data scientists. And events like these, I think, are very important, that all those kinds of experts get together and make sure that we just make the best out of our data, and hopefully then finally save the world through data even. So thank you again for coming. I have been told that I need to have some organizational part as well. So there was some confusion about the room setup. So we're here in the main hall. So this is the keynote room. And just besides is the room 1 for the second track. So there are 2 tracks in parallel, and I would just ask you to choose the track you're most favorite of. And of course, there's this expo zone where our sponsors are available to talk to and where you can also chat a bit more about data and important stuff. The other thing is there's lots of questions about Wi-Fi. I think it's Stadt Wien hotspot, right? So if you need Wi-Fi, of course, please also listen to the talks. But if you, of course, also need to look something up, something important, then you can use Stadt Wien hotspot. So we will then continue with a quick commercial break, and then we'll back for the first keynote.
Okay. Thank you all. I'm not going to introduce myself because I'm going to have a closing keynote. My name is Alexander. I'm going to be the host for the first keynote panel, and it's going to be very, very awesome because there is no too much time that you can talk about digitalization and space tech, so you're going to be very, very fun to see. I'm humbled that I have a chance to talk in 2 years, second time, with I think one of the most unbelievable person I have met, and his name is Mössler. He's like you may see, he's a general managing director at Science Park Graz. He's also doing a lot in the space of European Space Agency. He's European Space Agency Space Solution Austria General Manager as well. He's head of board of ESA Space Solution. So without further ado, I would like to call Martin to join me at the stage so we can start with the intro. So basically, Martin said it's very nice to see you once again and to talk with you. I know that last time we had a talk in Croatia. It was very cool and it was very, very well. So I suppose that we have set a high bar, so I'd like to try to exceed. So my question for you is, let's start just to jump directly to the topic because we have like 45 minutes, maybe a few minutes less. But how has the digitalization of space technology impacted the field of data science in recent years?
Thank you, first of all, so much for having me, and I want to return the compliment. We had an amazing time in Zagreb about a year ago. This is still resonating extremely well with me. Vienna is a lovely place, but we'll have a hard time replicating the quality of Zagreb. And yeah, it's a real pleasure to be here. I've had lovely talks previously to the panel. I really appreciate being here, and to be honest, there's a lot of people who say weird things about people specialized on data. I actually really love to interact with people of your kind because there is. This was a compliment because there's an uplifting quality and a deep knowledge-seeking spirit behind the data disciplines. A view on the world which is different to the standard scientific disciplines. And I perceive this to be not just game-changing in the next years. I believe this to be also extremely enriching when interacting with people from your discipline.
I can just to jump in. I think that you're totally right. I can tell for example, we have conference in 4 continents, 6 countries. I can see that right now, data scientists, AI experts, they start doing like the shows basically, and starting to be part of the shows in national television as well. People start asking like from national television to come. It's also like representative of media here as well, taking so much interest because I think that like a few years ago, what we talk about how the technology can impact the world actually is starting to, for like I said, most of the poor part of the world, they understand what is the value of technology. The technology, I think with time passing by, people understand technology is not to replace us, but to help us to achieve that, to become the best version of ourselves, basically. Yeah. So basically, I think I just wanted to correlate what you said. That's totally true. And I can see the data scientists and AI And I take myself as one of a few, like you said, that we are the pioneers of the 21st century. We are the ones who are trying to find the new worlds, new data, new things. We are the one who maybe will answer some of the questions, like cure for cancer, or maybe even like how to maybe set the foot on the Mars. Because without AI as a technology, as something that will help us to exceed our expectation, I think that's not possible. And that's why I would like to also come back to the question let you to answer, but I just needed to have a few seconds.
Of course, the question of the space topic. Basically, we need to be aware that by 2030, $500 billion are going to be generated by the space sector. So it's basically 3 times the revenue of Apple. It's more than 2 times the revenue of the whole Volkswagen group, if they still exist. Okay. Let me not talk me out of my job here. 3 times the revenue of Apple. It's already now 2.5 times the revenue of the previously mentioned company. So basically, we're talking about a sector which is still being perceived as rather limited, but it is not. It's about 80% of the revenues are, by the way, this is extremely relevant for this cohort, for you, is downstream data. So we're not talking about, although it's lovely to see huge launchers being sent to space. Yesterday didn't go too well.
Almost went well.
I guess that's what you call a shitty day in the office. But still, basically what we could see in yesterday, and I'm coming to answer your question, Alex, but what we saw yesterday was also a different approach to things. What SpaceX depicts and represents is a different approach to failure, is a different failure culture, is a daredevil culture, is one which gets things done. And we will, by the way, probably also see some interesting derivatives coming from the AI initiatives. Thank you, you're lovely. Coming from the AI initiatives around the whole scenery of Mr. Musk. But the most important part is, and this is critical because there is business for each and every one of you. Is the enormous amount of downstream data raining down on our lovely planet. This is Earth observation data. This is communication data. This is navigation data. This is a huge data sets of moving pieces, of moving people, of moving objects. This is data sets where we can, with radar data, especially the Copernicus program, we need to be aware that ESA and the European Space Agency, together with the European Commission, there's a lot of criticism legitimate towards the European Commission, but when it comes to Earth observation, they have really achieved miracles with the whole Copernicus program, and we can be proud of that as Europeans. This is all free to use. The whole Copernicus data set is open source data, which is impressive and amazing, and gives especially those with deep learning algorithmic capabilities. It's like a treasure chest. It's like as if you open up a bag for yourself. If you are able to commercialize the data which is available to you, you can see millimeters of change within railway tracks. You can see millimeters of change within buildings, because basically what we don't know is, most people don't know, is that buildings, they get tinier, just a little, but every year they sink into the ground a bit, and you can monitor that, and you can see, oh, this sucker is kind of going down too quickly. We need to do something about it. So basically the PISA issue can be avoided. You can do this on a large data set, something which humans could not and would not have been able to do in the past. We can now make sure that this is also, by the way, humanitarian interventions, humanitarian support and relief work is very much driven by satellite applications, by weather forecasts, and most importantly, the climate monitoring, and Europe is the leader when it comes to this, the whole climate monitoring. We would not be aware of the state of our planet if we did not have space applications and space solutions.
So basically, I'd just like to once again rephrase that two important things that you mentioned here. That the basic budget right now spent is like 3 times bigger than the Apple budget, and the second thing that you can use this data to create a business, not only in terms of, and it's very important to say because that's the topic of the conference, like sustainable development, like climate change, etc., but also in constructing. Like you can do like weather forecasting, you can do like communication data, you can do tons of different business. You can enhance your models using this as an open data. So basically, when we first talk about Copernicus, I was like saying, okay, this is the real example of how open data should look like. Like basically, I think that's the only real case. Like, okay, we're going to talk in one panel, should Apple and Amazon and everybody else open their data because they're basically all of our data, but that's this different scope of things. This stuff is already open that totally enhance and improve our ability, and also that's like one monetization, if I can manage to say. My question for you is like something like in script, like I can see that in this space there is tons of opportunities for startups. What do you think about what is your approach? What do you think about startups in data? In the data space field, is there something that I know that your organization is supporting, but I think that it's not promoted that much, and it should be.
Basically, you're absolutely right. This is the time of data-driven startups. This is the time of data-driven entrepreneurs and teams, because that's the beautiful thing about data specialists. They always work in teams. Engineers, mechanical engineers, electric engineers. They end up somewhere in my office, often alone with a smart idea, and I say, yeah, great. Can we kind of make a team or build a team around this? And they look at me like as if I was trying to steal their idea. Data specialists, they come in a team because they know that they can't do it all alone. They are aware that it's a team effort. And building a company, in the last 150 years, no large DAX or FTSE 100 company was ever built by one person alone. We need to be aware that I've mentioned SpaceX. Elon Musk is the representative of these companies, but he's not. Seems to be the main player, and this is the logic of attention and the logic of sales and marketing, which should not trick us. That there's huge, amazing geniuses behind the people who who are the talking heads, and this is very much to be appreciated. So yeah, it's the time, it's the right time. Everything. Timing is a bitch, or maybe this is not correct to say. I'm sorry, it's so early in the morning, but it's the right timing now, and we need to. And by the way, and this is I say as an Austrian, we have not been on the forefront when it comes to data, artificial intelligence, artificial learning, neural networks. Austria was still in the mechanical engineering sector, believing that mechanical engineering would be the future, while, and this is interesting, Serbia, and I'm not being paid by Serbia, but while Serbia outperformed and still outperforms large parts of the world, in particular large parts of Europe, with its data science and analytical companies and capabilities. Why is that? It's because of necessity. After the 1999 event, where basically the Serbian industry was bombed back into the Stone Age by NATO, that needs to be said. Let's not get political, but that's what happened. The necessity to create a so-called poor man's industry, which was back then the resort to go to was data and data sciences, very much created a positive dynamism, which now is going to position Serbia and the region within the forefront of the data sector. But to sum up your question, it is the time. Now is your time. Now is our time as a region and as a network to build especially on the open data sets, on the open data sources, and generate proper revenue, change the world, change your lives, earning money on it, but also earning money has become, basically everything we do needs to solve a problem. Every startup, every company, every human being which wants to make a difference needs to solve a problem. We need to not just solve a problem. If you want to build a company around it, you also need to have a market for that solution. So yeah, there's a lot of problems. There's a lot of solutions for problems, but there is not a market for all these solutions. Some things just don't interest the market. A lot of the sustainability topic has now come to a point where there is a market for areas and for things which did not have a market before. All at once, photovoltaics are on the rise, although they've been around since the 1970s. By the way, coming from space, very few people know that. That photovoltaics were developed, the photovoltaic cell was developed same with the hydrogen cell, was developed in order to propel and power satellite missions. Yeah, it's not so easy to have a stable power supply in space. There was nuclear solutions, the so-called thermal nuclear generators worked very well. It's about 1 kilo of plutonium. It's a bit dangerous, but worked very well. So Voyager 1 and 2 have TNGs, thermonuclear generators. Impressive work. And the solar cell at the beginning, cost 300,000 euros per square centimeter. Yeah. And it scaled with the economies of scale. It went down to now 300 euros per square meter. We, as a consequence, through tech transfer, and this is very much tech transfer, technology transfer, the logic of technology transfer is something which data scientists need always to keep in mind. Through tech transfer, we generated the technology which makes a real difference to the planet now. And the whole management of photovoltaics, wind energy, and all the other sources of energy, and this is the time where this is extremely, where we are going through a painful process, which is going to be one which enlightens us. The whole management of this is going to be a deep data analytically driven operation, which, by the way, also has a lot of business to be made. So a solution to a problem with a market and a team, that's what basically coins a successful company.
Yeah, basically, I have talked with one of the guys who's going to be speaker at DSC Austria in 1 month, and he had made an AI product for Novartis and his company from Croatia, for example. And he said that how he built the AI product is very similar to what you just said. There's Japanese philosophy in that means that there's 4 circles basically. For Japanese, their work is like what makes them happy. So basically, that's the formula for happiness actually. And they say, okay, the first circle is what I'm passionate about. The second circle is what I know how to do. The third one is somebody that someone needs. And the fourth circle is somebody who is willing to pay for something. If you find the intersection of these 4 circles, you're going to be happy in your life. So basically, like I just talked with him, that's some kind of data set, some kind of spiral. With every models, you're trying to be as close to you can be to this circle, because if you don't have successful models, somebody's not able to pay, you're not going to stay at the market. Of course, if you're a big American company and have a lot of funds, that's a different story. But like real, like company startups, that's something that's very interesting, resonates with me, and I think it's very, very similar to what you have just asked, said actually.
I agree, and actually this is something very particular about people in the data sector. It's impressive. They always love what they do. This is not so much the case in other disciplines to this degree. People, and this is why often data specialists are being looked at with a certain, being not always get the respect they deserve, because the deep love and the deep passion for your discipline and for what you do is actually creating an awkward feeling within those cohorts who are not so passionate about what they do, who see things more as a job, what they do more as a job than as a passion. That makes, but in the end, that makes a successful, happy life, to be really loving what you do and to experience the passion. And that's what I meant at the beginning when I said I like to interact with groups specialized on data, because it is a different atmosphere. It is a feeling of concentration, of intellectual stimulation, and a real uplift.
I would just like to see who is passionate about his job in this, to see. Okay.
Okay, there's other people who might want to look for a new job.
Yeah, but this is excellent. Basically, that's what I said. That I think that we are the pioneers of the 21st century, because when you're passionate about, when you have that like curve that you cannot sleep until you finish something. That's something that 10% more of you doing something that is not only job, it's something you love to do. That's something that's making you change the world in the end. That's why we say change the world through data. My question for you is a little bit like, let's go back to the topic. Let's not be too depressed. Is what do you think is what is the reason, and what can be the biggest challenges and obstacle for the people who are data scientists to go into space like industry?
The biggest obstacle is actually the respect. I would say the respect for space topics, because we believe it to be extremely elitist, special. It is the beacon. For decades, it's been the representative of an elitist form of ingenuity and engineering, and we should leave this respect aside. It is lovely. It is actually good to have it, but it's not good for business, because in the end, it's a classic job. You deep dive into the data, you get out what you need, and that's it. So basically, the enormous reputation of space as a sector is at the same time its weakness. So do not hesitate to contact. I'm not trying to advertise here. To contact ESA BIC Austria or any other ESA operation. But especially the ESA Space Solutions, as there's 84 centers across the European member states. By the way, I'm extremely humbled to be their representative. So do contact me. I will, no matter where you are, we have a touchdown point for you. There's no need to be respectful. Because or to have any fear, let's put it like that. Respect is always to have any fear to interact with ESA. It is an extremely powerful support program, which, by the way, also cashes at the beginning 50,000 euros should you be selected into your treasure chest, and you will not be diluted in terms of equity. But another question. Did I answer the question? No.
What do you think is the biggest challenge?
The biggest challenge is to get going. The biggest challenge. This is not just space. It's about entrepreneurship in general. We are not made. European societies and European educational systems are not generating entrepreneurs. European educational systems, and probably not just European ones, they have been built and they still function along the assumption that we need to create industrial individuals capable of fueling the industrial system and beginning the revolution. But back from Maria Theresia, when the first schooling, the first obligatory schooling system was introduced, it was about generating a workforce in order to power the Industrial Revolution. And now we have post that, and but in our minds and in the minds of those who represent the political system, we are still not fully there. So it's a disciplinary. The school, the university, also the workplace is still very much for a lot of people a disciplinary force, forcing them into a squared structure, which, by the way, is not too much of an ideal situation for creative minds and entrepreneurial minds. So we need to unshackle ourselves from these burdens. We need to allow ourselves to think creatively, to think entrepreneurially, to allow ourselves to realize our dreams and visions together with others. And incubators are not the only way to do so. I'm not talking about against my own business. This is not the only way. Companies have been created for thousands of years. But it's a very good way to get support at the beginning. In the end, you need to do most of the stuff on your own anyhow. But it's good to have a buddy around who's been there and who's done it. But the most important, I'm repeating myself, the most important part is to be thinking, and no matter whether you're in an employed stage or not, to think and act as an entrepreneur. You can do so in any job by just not being too obedient, by focusing on your work and not on your superior. Basically your work is your company. So there's many ways to be entrepreneurial and to train in order to potentially create a good, successful company, or even when you are still in a job. So basically we need to, you don't become an entrepreneur from now to the next moment. You become an entrepreneur by forming a mindset which is respecting authority, but which is not too respectful to the authoritarian leadership styles which we experience here and there. It's about generating a visionary mindset which really allows you to realize your ideas, dreams, and visions, and that's the biggest topic. It's not whether you are in data, whether you are in mobility, and by the way, it's all data in the end now. But it's about getting the mindset right, and about perceiving yourself as an entrepreneur, no matter where you are, employed, unemployed, having a startup. It's the same spirit which we require, and you can train the spirit of success, or also while being employed in a classic job.
I can totally relate to this because I can remember mine starting as a data science conference. I was working as a data scientist in NCR, and I was like basically one-man show team which was saving more than $30 million to the company. And basically I was doing conference in parallel in just one place. I just completely switched to the conference because it became too much large for me to have data science job. And I'm very sad because I'm not doing data science every day because I truly do love data science. But it's something that I truly do believe that innovation is not, like you said, it's not only about having the new company. You can innovate inside of your own company as well. So basically, if you start building culture by yourself, the culture is going to be built around you. It doesn't matter if you're in banking industry, you're in insurance, you can do that. Basically, I can, from my personal experience, I can see the telco operators here working with, they're changing the way how they're going to employ the persons, totally new way how to employ persons, which are also let's say, preaching about, it's not traditional IT, it's not traditional HR. So basically, I can see that if you try something and you fail enough time, you will in the end succeed. That's my success story, and maybe it's going to be even better in times to come. But my question for you, I think that also important question is, can you maybe, in your opinion, of course, what do you think can be the interesting thing and most interesting thing that has happened in the intersection of data science, AI, and space technology in the last few years?
About entrepreneurship, every one of you who's come here, moved out of the ordinary and moved out of your daily routines, that's already a huge entrepreneurial indicator. So everybody here is an entrepreneur. I think it's like Joseph Beuys said, the famous artist Joseph Beuys said, everybody is an artist. I would say everybody is an entrepreneur, and in particular you. So relating to your question, what is the most interesting topics arriving in space? It's basically huge, and this is I'm targeting it a bit to you, to my target audience, but it's also true what I'm saying. It's huge data lakes being generated by Earth observation, by satellite navigation, by GNSS. It's about data injection points. We need to, data scientists need to get as close to the data injection points of ESA, of NASA, but NASA doesn't open them to people like us. So basically, we have the chance and the opportunity, and I really want to urge you to do so and to look into it. And it's such huge data sets. That you really need to be using neural learning networks in order to make something out of them. As a consequence, this is your time, because we've had this data for decades, actually, but we couldn't do anything with it. It was some smart ass diving out one picture out of, it's horrible to do this more or less manually, and more or less a titanic task. But it's possible to do this now with the push of a button, with the right structures behind. So basically, the most important part is it's all there. We have, and this is very simple. This is very much the case for a lot of innovations. By the way, they have been around in terms of laid ground for decades, mostly. And in the end, it's a few things: timing, the right people, the right economic conditions, the right geopolitical problems coming together and making a business out of a topic which before was not really thriving. So at the moment we are, it's the AI-based work on data sets coming from space. It is also the multi-layering of data. It is the Earth terrestrial data combined. It's the combination of terrestrial and space-related data. I mean, I'm not telling you anything new here, but it's important to mention that. And out of the intersection comes the business mostly. It's not one of the two. It is the intersections. It's the gray areas where mostly the business opportunities lie, because that's also the areas where those who are not so good at seeing things don't see the business. The rest mostly has already been taken, but in the gray areas, the smart ones tend to generate success. And the most important.
Yeah.
No, you want to go?
Yeah, I just wanted to say also, like, what was for me, for example, I have remembered this, but I was asking a question. I think that all of us have seen the picture of the black hole. So, basically, that's the first time that we have seen and we have photographed the black hole, and it was using computer vision and AI to reproduce, because without that, it could be possible. Like, I was reading about it was needed like 1,000 years, like by the old method without the AI to just generate. It's possible, like you said, but it wasn't possible without strong computation and neural networks as well behind. So basically, without AI scientists, we will never see how AI hole looks like. And it's very like groundbreaking, because from the physics side of the point, and we have physicians see it for sure, that like just to check out some theories that can help us to understand how the world functions and to create something new, like Einstein created like the new theory of relativity.
Absolutely, and there's one important thing with the capabilities of artificial intelligence and of deepfakes. We need to be aware that the one of the most important topics of all of us is securing blockchain, whatever solution we take, is securing the knowledge of the originality of a certain data set. For example, a satellite picture, it can be easily manipulated, and we need to have at the injection point a structure which allows you to know where things how things were and how they changed. It's always about the delta. And by the way, I think we are moving forward in relation to urban mobility. We are moving towards the third dimension, very much a space-related one. Autonomous drive is going to be very much space-related and backed by space topics. We will be, by the way, also 25. The demographic change, and this is very much fostering our business model as well. By 25, there's going to be 2 people retired, and only 1 person will be no joke in continental Europe, and only 1 person will be filling the jobs of 2. As a consequence, we are on a demographic change, or actually potential catastrophe, if we do not substitute human capital. I don't like the term, but if we don't substitute people by technology in a very smart way, we will not be making it. We've kind of ended up here a bit unplanned, I think. We didn't see this coming. At the moment, we are still being communicated. It's the young generation not wanting to work full time which generates the problem. This is wrong. This might be a factor. I don't know, this might be a factor, but this is wrong. Even if the young generation was willing to work 60 hours a week as a standard, they could not make up for the demographic problem which we are currently running into. because the boomers are retiring now, and it's just not enough. They didn't generate enough kids to basically, we have a demographic issue, and we need to supplement the lack of workforce with technology. It's a huge opportunity again. It's a huge business opportunity, but also in terms of motto, changing the world, making the world a better place through data. Because this is not always so evident. People perceive because of and this is an issue. We have monopolies in the data sector which are not doing well to all of us, and which are also not doing well to our business. Monopolies combined with the market logics, they do not go in harmony. As a consequence, we need to be very much aware of that. We need to be making sure that we do not, and this is currently extremely challenging, that we do not generate additional monopolies. And politics actually should stop, forbidding, especially European politics, should be getting into the macro picture. It's not so important whether the cap on your water bottle is fixed to the bottle or not. I'm not going to get into it. There's a lot of things which are being taken care of, which I'm not sure whether they're the most important parts of a future society. But what is going to be important for Europe is an open access to data and data lakes is an increasing targeted view on monopolies or quasi-monopolies, because they are not doing well to humans. They're not doing well to society, and in particular not well to the economy. And we tend to not be on the forefront as Europeans when it comes to that. There's others being extremely good at monopolizing. And as Peter Thiel said, competition it's in 0 to 1, book 0 to 1. He writes, competition is for losers. The real power is in monopolies. I'm repeating, competition is for losers. The real power is in monopolies. This is questioning the whole existence of a market-driven economy. This is basically, this is not capitalism even anymore. This is a different breed. We have no name for that. I'm quite sure that it's not good for the larger public, that it's not good for the planet. Because competition, we can talk about, we can be very, very critical about capitalist systems. Fair point. And I'm very happy to do so maybe in another set of discussions. But if there's one thing which really, really is an interesting, innovative force, it is competition. There's something beautiful in it. There's something beautiful in it in sports. There's even in a relationship, when you have a positive competition between your partner intellectually, when you run arguments, there's something beautiful in competition. It doesn't always have to be destructive and bellicistic at all. Competition is a generating force of creativity and uplift. And when we get rid of it, we can discuss about the capitalist system, but I'm not willing to discuss about competition being a driver of innovation. And when we get rid of that, by and through monopolies, we're not gonna end up well. And people like you and me, we need to really, on a constant basis, and I'm doing this, really make an argument to, Standard Oil, Rockefeller, the formerly the richest man on earth, his empire was cut into pieces because he got too powerful. Standard Oil was cut into pieces, basically leaving him with an okay fortune, but not as the most powerful man on earth. So basically, this was just oil. So we need to I'm not suggesting to cut up any empires at the moment, but we need to find, and it's not up to me, but we need to find a way to reinstate proper competition into the system, and the power of code is so strong that it needs to be available to the many and not just the few.
Yeah, I think that you have basically just give us an excellent intro for my last question for you, and that's like ethical side of the story. I think that we need to think about that for in every time. And my question is, As you continue to push the boundaries of space technology, what ethical consideration do you believe we need to keep in mind as data scientists and technologists?
I think making technologies available to as many people as possible. Trying to, at the moment, Starlink. Look at Starlink, the satellite network from basically from Elon Musk. It's not just Tesla; it's also SpaceX and Starlink. And there's also, of course, also deep learning structures. Basically, Starlink is an impressive operation. It provides communication, low orbit, it's constellations of satellites flying in low orbit, about 600-700 kilometers, that's low. And providing communication networks, especially to infrastructure deprived areas, Africa, the Americas, many places. Germany, by the way, also Germany is known to be infrastructurally desperate compared to, for example, Serbia. Germany has no data flow qualities at all. There's people who say that it's basically Germany is about broken roads and broken networks. And I'm not joking you. We need to take very good care of our economic of our data highways. Because if we screw this up, we will basically be nowhere, and we'll be competing with countries which we did not even have on the radar before. Meaning, we'll be dropping low. But the ethical part is that the monopoly of space, the monopolization of space, is taking place in a very similar way as the big four monopolized the data space in general on terrestrial level. So we are now seeing the next level. This brought into the lower Earth orbit, Starlink having taken so many frequencies and so many bands that it's going to be very hard for a competitor to fly physically, to fly within these satellites, because it's so prone. That's also why there was so many sent up in order to really mark the territory. I'm not joking you. It's about marking the territory. And this is well done from a business perspective. This is well done. There's nothing to say against it. From a larger public interest, and communication networks are critical to all of us. Quasi-monopoly is not ideal because we are on the brink of potential collision between satellites here. And it will be very hard to send competitive satellite networks into these orbits without potentially generating collisions and interferences. And this is important. This is, by the way, these frequencies need to be given to more than just one company. And it's a bit of a wild west, and I have respect for those who are conquering the wild west. But it's not. We need to make sure that the larger public is still profiting and still has a secure connection to data, to communication, and to networks. So basically, the biggest ethical challenge is, again, as in all tech topics, is the quasi or the real monopolization of what we do, of what coins us. The stronger your idea, the stronger your business case, the more danger there is that it becomes a monopoly, and we need to kind of break them rather than enforce them. And this is an ethical topic which is terrestrially relevant, which is in space relevant. And by the way, the whole moon landing project of Artemis, quite specialized on that, is also about claiming rights on the moon. Territorial rights. So in order to become post-territorial, and we need to really think as one planet, we need to be aware that the space as a topic, and I'm going to try because we need to end, right? Space as a topic really is so beautiful because our bodies and our physical existence is very much bound by gravity. We are coined by gravity. But the most beautiful thing about our existence is that our minds and our souls, they're gravity free. They're free to go and to think whatever they are. and wherever they want to go. So our bodies may be bound by gravity, but our minds and our souls are not. And that's something beautiful, and that's basically a good line, I think, to end.
Yeah, I think so. So thank you so much, Martin. I would like to have one big round of applause for Martin Mössler.